up everyone? Gonna be doing a fuel pump R&R. So the fuel pump is in the back on the passenger side, right around right here. Let me just get in here. So to get this seat cushion out, you're just gonna pull up. There are a couple of clips. There we go. And then you just kind of pull up and towards you, trying to get around these elbow rests, arm rests. Okay, so you kind of have to get it out this far, past these arm rests, and then just pull up. It'll come out. So the fuel pump's right there. I'm just going to take this out of the car. I am wearing a mask. I have both of my doors open and all the windows. Doing this outside because you will be basically removing the fuel pump from the gas tank, and it will smell pretty bad. And these are the two clips that you're basically trying to break when you pull up on the seat before you pull it out. My sound deadening material here is pretty much gone, but you would have a layer of like gray, like plasticky, rubbery stuff. I guess kind of like this stuff. It's still here, all over here. Might as well disintegrated. So for the fuel pump, we need to remove these 4 10 mils. Okay, next we're gonna pry this cover up. Just move it off to the side. There should be enough cable in there for you to play around with. Okay, and then there's this connector and this electrical connector. Okay, so on my car I'm going to hold this casing, the outside casing, and slide it to the left. It takes a little bit of force. Okay, so that took a little bit of force. I had to use both hands, but you slide it over so you can see this big gap. And then you kind of pull it upward. You need to pull it over pretty far. And then you can just start pulling it upward, and then it disconnects. Okay, and then this guy, on mine there are 2 tabs that I would have to press in and pull it off. I think on earlier cars this is a little bit more complicated. So before I do that, I'm going to loosen up this lock ring. I think Schwaben and DCS sell a tool that you kind of put on here and it rotates with a ratchet. It's like $70. I don't do this on a daily basis or multiple times a day even to warrant getting that tool. So the way that I do it is I actually use a screwdriver and I kind of tap each one of these evenly, slowly, and then the whole thing unscrews. You can see it's rotating, so it's coming off. And then you would tighten it the same way. Okay, so that ring is off, starting to smell here. I'm just gonna go get a vacuum and vacuum this dust up so it doesn't go into my my gas tank. Okay, so I got this loose. Before I can remove it, I have to remove this little hose. So I'm just gonna pinch it. So once you squeeze these 2 tabs, you just pull it off. There might be a little bit of fuel that spills out, but no biggie. Okay, next I'm going to remove this this ring. Okay, and then there's this nice little hook handle, whatever you want to call it, to pull it out. There's going to be a rubber ring in there. Let's see, just pull it up. It's going to unseal itself. Yeah, so it might take a little bit of force because there is a rubber ring here that seals everything. And if yours is old, it might be kind of stuck on there, so I had to pull using this little tab as well as try to pry it here. And then this thing starts coming out. So just watch this little hose. Move it out of the way, and then before I pull it out, what the new one looks like is this, and the way it goes in is the same way that it's going to be coming out, which is like this. So this little float is going to be on the left. You're facing to the back of the car. So this is what a new fuel pump looks like. The actual pump is right here, this metal part. Everything else is just wires, sensors, float, and the way that it sits in there. Okay. So now that we know what shape it'll be. The float will probably take a little bit of doing to get out of there, just because it might be stuck. It is kind of a tight fit, so just wiggle it around. So I'm going to try to do that with both hands. So just wiggle it around slowly. You can see the float is actually on the left. It's kind of hooked on there, so just rotate it to the extent that you need to. This black ring is a very important ring to put on there. It comes with a new one. Don't forget it has to sit on the inside there to seal everything. When it's out, there will be some drippage, so I have this tray with some plastic on it. It's cardboard. Okay, on the new one, the way that I slide this ring on is actually on through the bottom. I don't stretch it over the top. Just slide it as I need to here. And it fits right on the bottom of the cap, right here. And just like that. And I'm going to pull this off, set it aside, and then try to get this thing in there. That's what the fuel tank looks like. So it's going to go in this way. So I'm just going to wiggle it in. The new one goes in a lot easier than the old one comes out sometimes. Another thing, if you get lost, I mean, there are several things to look at. One is the way that it comes out is the way it goes in. If you don't remember the orientation, this hose attaches here. This electrical connection is toward the back of the car. And then if you can see here, there's this tab that goes in right in there in that white area, so it only kind of snaps in one way. So one thing I should have explained, which I didn't, so the ring you don't actually pull up all the way. That new rubber ring should actually be seated against that white part that you can see right there, and then you put the blue part and push it into it. That will provide you a proper seal. Don't try to get this new black seal onto this part and then push it all in, because that won't work. There's like a little U-shaped lip that has to go around. So put this black seal onto this white area first, and then push the whole thing. Pump on there. Now I'm going to try to seat the threads on this guy, just loosely. Just make sure it's not cross-threading or anything. Now I can connect this hose back, snap it in, and the electrical connector goes in here. Alright, so now I'm just going to tighten this guy the same way I did, half by hand, and then tap it with a screwdriver. Okay, and the last part that's left is to just put this wire in carefully inside of there, and then dip this 10 millimeters. Looks like it only goes on one way, which is this protrusion facing toward the front of the car, and tighten these 10 mils, and that would be it. So that's it. I'm not going to put my cushion back in now, but you kind of get the idea. You slide it back under, get these two tabs latched on, and just turn the key, listen for the pump to prime, and then see if you can start the car. Yep. Beautiful.